Us here today. We've got some good announcements, but we also have some statements to make about, and you wouldn't think we'd even be in this situation, but we have this almost 3-to-1 supermajority of Republicans in the Florida House of Representatives, and it is rotten. They are behaving more like Democrats. They are colluding with the left. They're colluding with the media to try to sabotage all the great success that Florida has had over these last 6 years. And that is wrong. That is not what they told you they would do when they asked you for your vote. And so we're going to talk about a couple of the things. We have a great announcement on Hope Florida, and they're attacking that too. So first, I just have to say, we are #1 in higher education throughout the entire country. Our public university system's ranked #1. As a Florida resident, you can send your kid. We even have grandparents can qualify for in-state tuition. And it's about $6,300 a year. That's the cheapest in the entire United States, and I've not let them raise tuition on Florida residents since I've been governor, and I'm proud of that. But having a good university system means you have to recognize that throughout our country, our universities have lost their way. They have become institutions focused more on political indoctrination rather than classical education. And so we said in the state of Florida very simply, these are your colleges and universities as taxpayers. They don't have the right to do whatever the heck they want and promote whatever agenda they want if it's not in the best interest of the state of Florida. So we are not tolerating indoctrination camps. We are going to have our universities subscribe to the classical mission of what a university should be, pursuing truth, preparing our students to be citizens of the republic, and that's what your tax dollars should go for. I don't want parents to spend 18 years instilling values in their kids and then worry they send them to one of our universities in Florida and it's all going to be undone by Marxist professors. That doesn't work for me. So we have leaned in and led on the issue of higher education more than any other state in the country. We were the first state in the country to eliminate DEI from our public university system. We're the first, and I still think only state, to enact reforms so that all tenured professors must undergo review every 5 years and can be terminated for poor performance. We've also worked hard to bring more conservative professors to campus, and part of that is we instituted reforms that lets university presidents and our boards of trustees recruit from other universities and give them positions without putting them in against the current faculty, because what happens is you apply to be a professor, you go before the faculty, and unless you toe the ideological line, they will blackball you. And that's what happens. So we've gone around the faculty. It's not their responsibility. It's not their right to be blackballing conservative professors. And so we've now recruited all these great folks at the Hamilton Center at University of Florida, place like New College in Sarasota, and when we get done with it, the University of West Florida. You will see some big changes there, trust me. But in order to do this, it requires that the guy that you elected to be governor by a record margin, 4.6 million votes, that I take what you want to see in these universities and I use my authority to ensure that these universities don't run off the rail. So people would ask me when they had the whole Hamas stuff at like Columbia University, you literally have these Hamas people that are running the show at Columbia. They're taking over the school. And that didn't happen in Florida universities. And people say, well, you're so fortunate that didn't happen in your universities. I was like, fortunate or luck has nothing to do with it. If any university president allowed that to happen in one of our Florida universities, they would no longer be university presidents in any of our universities because we would fire them. So you have to hold institutions accountable. And I think what's happened over many decades throughout the country is academia left to its own devices is absolutely going to run aground. They are going to go very hard left. They're going to be mired in all this indoctrination and all these ideological leftist fads, and we can't have that in Florida. So you got me in there. we make sure that we keep this thing going and obviously move it in a direction that's more reflective of the values of the state. And oh, by the way, that will also make the universities much better, okay? I mean, do we really need zombie studies programs like they have? I mean, it's ridiculous, some of the nonsense that they're doing. So we're proud of that. Now, in the Florida House of Representatives today, they are proposing a bill to undo this success. And this bill is proposed, I don't think she was the one that wrote it. I think this was the speaker told her to run it, but from Escambia County, Michelle Salzman. And, you know, she had been a very good ally for many years. She had a good conservative record. And I think what happens is these people go to Tallahassee and they go native. She's doing the bidding of the leadership and the staff. She's not doing what you sent them there to do. You did not elect her to undo our conservative reforms in higher education, because I'm confident if she ran on that, you wouldn't have elected her in the first place. And yet she is proposing a bill co-sponsored by the most flamboyantly left-wing Democrat in the entire Florida House of Representatives, is a co-sponsor. So do you think the far left is going to co-sponsor bills that are going to further our mission to make sure that we don't allow our universities to be leftist bastions of indoctrination? Of course not. That liberal representative is doing it because she knows this will kneecap the reforms that we have put in place and we continue to build on. They even write in this legislation that the governor and the governor's office can have no communications involving who gets selected to be university presidents. Imagine that. They bring some communist in to be the president of a university, and I'm just supposed to sit there and twiddle my thumbs? That's not how I roll. I'm not going to let that happen to you. I'm not going to let that happen to this state. So this bill, what this bill does, House Bill 1321, it removes the ability of us to ensure that we're holding universities accountable. So for example, you know, we had the DEI elimination. Well, you got some guy at University of South Florida was like, oh, well, we're doing it by another name. Okay, well, you're fired. You got rid of him, right? You have to have that accountability. And what Salzman is trying to do, and again, I don't think that this is something she wanted to, I think this is like the speaker told her, you have to do that. And so, but what the bill would do was neuter our ability to keep universities in line and to build off the success. Because you know what? Like, if we can get, you know, good, strong conservative leaders to be willing to run universities, that should be a good thing. You want the governor involved in ensuring that. And so this is very ill-conceived. But you say, why would the Florida House of Representatives, you have almost a 3-to-1 supermajority, which, oh, by the way, they didn't have that supermajority until I came along, and yet they are weaponizing that to try to attack us, our administration. And make no mistake, when they're attacking me, they're attacking you. Because all I'm doing is standing up for what I told you I would do when you elected me. And that's what they're doing. And they're trying to empower the left. And I think to myself, you know, nobody has done better than we have in Florida in beating the left, in beating the Democrats, and making sure that we have really strong Florida First policies. And so here we are, have made more progress on higher education than any other state. In fact, the Wall Street Journal last month, they did a front page article and they said President Trump is looking to overhaul universities, look to Florida to see what's going to happen because Florida's already done it. And they went through everything that we had done, and they said that's the model that's now being done with the Trump administration. And so why would you want to kneecap that? Why would you want to empower the left? And if you take us out of it, that is going to mean they go left. That is the way these things are. So we all know that. Something is rotten in the Florida House of Representatives. These people are not doing what you said, what they told you that they would do. And here's the thing. When you go up there, the leadership will threaten these representatives. They'll say, if you don't do this bill, you will lose your committee assignment. You will lose your projects. You won't have any of your bill heard. So they exact retribution on these members. And so that's why you have people that are pursuing some of this stuff, which is clearly not what they campaigned on. But here's the thing. Leadership's not cost-free.